Good day, everybody. I believe she'd be August 6th today. And I'm just having a look at, this is the paddock that goes along the road. For anybody that was on the tour, when we did the tour, and it looked pretty short and it looked pretty ugly, and it was taken down, as I said, more than I thought I wanted it to. It's coming back. We've had, probably 4.5 inches of rain since 12th, after the 12th of July, because I left on the 12th of July, or 11th of July, to go on holidays. And it rained while I was gone, and it's been raining since I've been back. I'm happy with this. This land here was very depleted before I threw grass seed back at it, and it took like 5 years for it to finally fill in. And I'd say we got a nice fill in here in most places. There's some thin spots yet. This stuff here is gonna probably get to rest for, I want to say another month or maybe more before it gets grazed again. It's going to get a graze this fall, likely after some dormancy, but or maybe after frost. So just showing you, I've still got alfalfa coming. It's just a slow paddock because everything was so depleted. This was pretty much all hard pan. And the cows graze this, and okay, it's along a road, right? So they graze it, and then they kind of come over here and lounge to the other side on the knoll, where it's an old blow line where it blew back in the 30s. And so this old blow line, those cows, they lounge on top of here. And a lot of times it looks like it's just bare dirt. But look at the color difference between that has been so depleted and just trying to gouge its way back to life. And this has been grass all the time. We never ever broke over to the fence because there's probably a bunch of rocks in this area. And when it was dry, they chewed it down and it looked like it was just bare ground because I thought all the grass was dead. And there is a fair amount of bare ground in here. But I want you to look at that. We've got 12 inches of grass in this dark green grass. Do a little bit of measuring here. So it's very lively. It just jumps when it gets rain. But as I said, okay, here's a spot where obviously a cow peed or did its job, right? And there's a big difference between here and here. I gotta pause it. Okay, I guess I gotta do some editing again. That's what happens when you're making a video and you get a phone call. So, right here is a green spot where obviously a cow peed. And you can see we got a lot more height there than over here where they didn't. So here we got about 5 to 6 inches of grass. Here we've got about 8 to 9. I'm not standing any of the plants up as I measure them, so we're just going to get a standing height as it stands. So where the nutrients are being deposited, you can see a pretty massive increase in production. And the more you graze, the more you disperse that nutrients. And the more you move the cattle around and change the boundaries of a field, the more you move those nutrients around. As you can see, here's a spot right here. It has to be a nutrient difference because it's in the same field as all of that, but it's doing a lot better. Let's go do some measurements out here in this stuff that's struggling. And I want to say it's struggling, but it's doing very well for where it's come from. We've got 6 to 7 inches out here. So, and then on a nutrient spot, probably 7 to 8. But it's thicker, greener, more vigorous. So these are the benefits of regenerative grazing. And this stuff takes time. You're never going to see this overnight. This takes, I've been at this for 6 years, and this was just getting established when I started. So the cows have helped me get this stand the way it is. As I said, there's still some fairly bare spots. And then you look over there and it's not. So we're just going to let it grow. I thought some of the ones that were on the tour would like to see this because they seen it when it was dry. I mean, I've said it before. This country is very forgiving when we get rain. You can accomplish a lot in a hurry when you get rain. But sometimes our rains are far and few between. And you just have to figure out how to get from one to the other, I guess. Now, some people would be panicked about the dandelions and stuff starting. I would not worry about them. In fact, I enjoy the fact that they're there. They're helping fix the soils. If you want some fun reading, read up on why dandelions grow in an area and what they do. They have a massive taproot as they grow, and that taproot gets through that hard pan and it mines up the nutrients from below the hard pan, and as it grows the plant on the top and it either dies back or gets grazed, it disperses those nutrients on the top level. So dandelions in a pasture situation, cows love them. You can't, if you're going to complain about dandelions in a pasture system, I don't know. They're helping you out, I guess. I don't want to get down on anybody too hard. But some people, if they see a weed, they've got to kill it. And to be honest with you, in a forage, in a pasture situation, sometimes if you kill the weeds, you don't have any forage. Your cattle got to eat something, and that's going to cover the ground. Those dandelions are going to cover the ground as they grow. They're going to shade the ground, and they're going to mine out nutrients. And a cow's going to come along when they get here, and they're going to eat them. So weeds aren't always weeds. Weeds are a plant that is, the definition of a weed is a plant that is growing in the place where you don't want it. Out here, other than a noxious weed, I don't care what grows as long as the cows eat it. And that's what I'm managing for, is as you let that stuff do its job and take its course, you see a lot less of it. This whole thing, this whole area between the road and the fence here used to be nothing but like dandelions, kochia weeds, and narrowleaf hawksbeard. And as I grazed the weeds, and what grass came went to seed, and then I stamped that seed into the ground and I let it regrow and let it start, and then let it go to seed sometimes, and grazed it. And then next time, like this year, it's not going to go to seed because I'm going to graze it twice in a year. But next year, maybe it's not going to get grazed until late in the year. So you just don't know with me. I move it around. But that's what you call natural phenomenon. Like the buffalo were never in the same place at the same time of year every time. They didn't have fences to hold them in and herders to herd them, and they wandered the country and they went where the forage was best and where they could find it. We're trying to mimic nature with this, and some of these spots are really, 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 really nice and thick and coming on. And there's spots, I think it got so dry, like it was that I had these areas here covered with seedling grasses, and I think it got so dry that a lot of them seedlings died out. Like that was a seedling this spring, and that was probably a seedling this spring, and that's a seedling this spring, and that's a seedling this spring. But there was some in this area, and it's died out. It was so dry for so long, it just couldn't make it. But slowly we're seeing improvements, and you know what? When we get rain, the improvements happen fast. It's a very slow process in the dry, but when we get rain, boy, can you see things happening. I mean, so give you an example, down on Tom's quarter, we were kind of on the last couple moves, and I said to Calvin, the guy that has cattle there, I said, I think we're going to take them out next week. And that was last week. Well, I went to do the final move, put them in the final spot, took a drive around. It's like, I'm going to blast them around one more time because it looks better than this, and it's growing so much every time I go back. Like every time I go back, it's probably jumped another 3 inches. So we're going to go back around quickly. What took us 2 months to do before, maybe we're only going to scamper across it and get 3 weeks out of it. But we're going to go back around and do it, and we're going to move them down there and do the same thing. We're not in the same spots. The paddock size is going to change because there's not as much forage there as there was the first time. So if I make 3 paddocks into 2 and graze them for 4 days rather than a week, 7 paddocks says I'm going to get 21 days. 21 days brings me pretty close to the end of August now. That's revenue for my landowner. Like, I rent that land from Tom, and it's revenue from me, and it gives my cattle customer, my grazing customer, a chance to stockpile feed at his place for the winter. And he's got quite a bit of feed coming now that it's started to rain, but it's still coming. But you know what? If we get an open winter and he can graze into the winter, that saves him a pile of money rather than starting a tractor every day. So it helps everybody, and I'm hoping that it helps the grass too, because it's getting used when it's most beneficial to the animals, and then it gets a chance to regrow because we've had the rain, and as long as our temperatures stay good, we're going to get more growth. So it'll come back, and then if whatever you get a chance to let it come back for a while this fall, next spring it's going to jump because it's got the head start from this fall. So I could leave it and move on, but sometimes you got to make a living, and sometimes you've got to take it when it's there, and it will forgive us. It'll regrow in the spring, and we'll start grazing maybe not May 11th this next year. Maybe we'll only start end of May or 1st of June. But sometimes you gotta, when you're coming out of lean times, you've got to do something. Then you got to stay alive. And that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to improve things and make a living. So it's pretty interesting. I hope you guys that went on the tour, I hope this video does it justice as to what I'm seeing. It's if this gets a month of growth, man, this stuff's going to be, people are going to want to come and cut it for hay. And that's not happening. The thing is, as limp as this color looks like compared to across the road, the hay fields that were cut and trying to grow back now with the rains, they got less color than this. And they got less height than this. And a lot of the hay fields are struggling here because of dry conditions, right? So the nutrients, you're hauling those nutrients off every time you take the hay off. And here we're not. And I mean, yes, guys got to make hay if you're going to carry cattle through the winter. I'm not in that position, so that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. And I can see the difference in the color of the grass. All right, like, subscribe, share, and comment. And I hope this is interesting for you. Like, southern Saskatchewan is amazing when it rains. So it kind of shows you how fast it comes back. Okay, just one final part of the note. And I don't want to hammer anybody because I'm just going to give you a show across the fence. This is continuous grazed and will be continuous grazed until they either move the cattle to a different pasture sometime if this runs out, or if it doesn't run out, they won't move the cattle. So across the fence to this, it is coming back. It's trying really hard to come back. But with the cattle coming back around, you can see their tracks in the grass. Any new shoots, that's like ice cream to them. When we moved the cows down to the creek pasture and we were coming through this area here, it was like trying to herd a classroom of kids past an ice cream parlor. You couldn't get them to move. You had to be on them. It took us just about an hour and a half to get through here, and it only took us maybe another hour and a half to move 4 miles. This is only a mile. They were hard to move across here because it was green, 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 and they wanted that ice cream. So when that stuff out there in the pasture, in the community pasture, starts growing, the cows come along and nip it. That's taken away from your root reserves. You want it to recover before you graze it. But we're going to let it go at that. I try to do videos about what I'm doing, not what the neighbors are doing, but sometimes you just need a comparison. So, you guys all have a great day. I'm really enjoying the rain. I hope you are too. I know there's crops coming that we're going to have to try to harvest soon, and this kind of weather isn't going to be great for that. But boy, we've waited a long time to see it. I don't think we should complain. Have a great day.